You know, you gonna record our tap dancing?
Yes.
I like it.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Just waiting for more folks to join us. Appreciate you all taking the time out of your busy evenings and relaxing evenings to come join us on this workshop.
I think we have some people muted.
All right. Yes, we do.
We appreciate y'all being here. Thanks so much. We're gonna get started in just a couple of minutes. We're gonna do a little bit of tap dancing before we get started with the formal presentation. Again, always feel free to ask questions. If you have questions, we're more than happy to answer those questions. It's a relatively small group, so we like to make sure we get those questions answered. But I think we'll answer a lot of your questions as we go through the presentation. But Bill and I have looked forward to this one for quite a while. I think obviously in your community, well, in any community, estate planning is so incredibly important, and there's a lot of misconceptions. And as we'll say many, many times in this presentation, we are not attorneys. We are not attorneys. We are not attorneys. But gosh, how many years of experience, Bill? 36 and you're 20 something?
We're about almost 57 years.
57 years. Wow. So 57 years of experience of saying we're not attorneys.
Well, we know some good ones.
We do. We can help you out with that. We have the technology, and we appreciate Esteban, CSFA for the opportunity to give you guys this really important information.
Well, I think maybe one more minute, Phil, and then maybe we ought to start. So we're
I think that makes sense.
conscientious of people's time.
Yep. We want to respect those who show up on time. We appreciate you guys for doing that. Esteban, if you want to go for it, we'll excuse me, we'll do our thing.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Phil. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's having a lovely evening. My name is Esteban Sandoval. I am this Association Services Coordinator for the California State Firefighters Association. We've been working with LegalShield on these monthly workshops, and they've been very helpful for our members. They provide a lot of information, and I'm very looking forward on more work with LegalShield. And I would like to introduce Phil and Bill from LegalShield.
Thanks, Esteban. Appreciate it very much. We've had a great relationship with the California State Firefighters Association. What do we sneak up on 5, 6 years? I don't know. It's been
Coming
a
up
while.
on 6.
Is it? Yeah, I thought so.
I think it's coming up on 6.
I thought that's correct, because none of us are counting the last year and a half, right? I mean, that doesn't even count. But we're excited to talk about estate planning, wills, and basic estate documents, and kind of give you a little information. Obviously, as I said before, and I'll say probably 3 or 4 more times, Bill and I are not attorneys in any way, shape, or form. In fact, that's our big disclaimer and big rip. We are not attorneys, nor are we giving legal advice. You should seek proper legal counsel for your estate planning needs, and we can tell you where to find that proper counsel as well. Okay, so let's talk about some facts. Now, this is interesting, this next slide, because it talks about, it says 44% of Americans have a will. That means 56% don't. For years, Bill and I have quoted the American Bar Association tells us 7 to 8 out of 10 Americans don't have a will, and 9 out of 10 minorities don't have a will. So the point is, most people don't have their estate planning in order. Many of them have something, they thought about it, they've considered it, they've been thinking about getting it done and just haven't got it done. And the whole idea behind what we do is to eliminate that from being a fact. We want to raise that number dramatically. So the common perceptions that people have about a will is that, I don't need it. I want everything to go to my kids. Or they say my family members care of my kids. I don't have anything. It's too expensive and takes too long. Those are the common concerns and perceptions that people have, but it's really important to understand that these are complete misnomers. This information this is way too important. Your will is your last love letter to the people you love and care about most. So make sure you take care of that. So in preparing for the future, which means preparing for potential death, incapacity, marriage, and I'm not putting marriage and death and incapacity in the same grouping. I want to make sure you understand that we do not think marriage is death, but the point is, these are important life events that happen, and we want to make sure you understand the process in regard to making those things happen. So the next slide talks a little bit about where there's a will, there's a way, and talks about you don't want to die intestate. You don't want to die where you don't have anything put together, because I'm sure all of us would agree that the state of California doesn't really care as much as you do about what happens to your belongings, the people you love and care about most. And we'll talk about trusts, where a trust done properly can be a very important tool, but it's not the only tool. I think it's important to understand that your will, living will, healthcare power of attorney, durable power of attorney, the important things that you get done are just as important. And people talk a lot about trusts, and I'm not here to condone them in any way, shape, or form, because when I'm not an attorney, but I have had many conversations with people who believe that trusts have become cash cows for many different law firms, where it becomes a tremendous source of income with very little work. So we're going to talk about all the different options you have in regards to that. Okay, let's talk first about incapacity. So when you're unable to make your own personal or medical decisions, unable to manage finances, obviously you're in a very vulnerable situation, a situation where you're easily susceptible to influence of others. I work with a lot of notaries, and if you're doing the documents that prevent you from being taken advantage of, it's obviously very important that they realize that you're in control of your facility, your faculties. So it's easy to be vulnerable when you're in a situation like this. So try and make those, just not try, make those decisions before you're in a vulnerable situation. You know, you can be easily susceptible to the influence of others, perhaps due to illness, mental condition, medication, age, it doesn't matter. So a lot of things make you very vulnerable when you're in a situation when you're incapacitated. So there's some of the things I talked about being vulnerable. It's really important to take care of that stuff. So I love this saying in every walk of life, but many of us heard this many times: failing to plan is planning to fail. Okay, if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. In fact, a shark dies if they're not going forward. So on your incapacity or death, if you don't decide how you wish to be treated or your property is treated, it will be decided for you. And again, I go back to the state of California, assuming you live in the state of California, wherever you happen to reside. I think we all agree that no state has our best interests in heart. So make sure you take care of these things as soon as you can. Unfortunately, you know, life is fleeting. Life can be short. I wish all of you a long and healthy and happy life, but things do happen. If the pandemic has done nothing, it has shown us that things happen. Sometimes things that are completely out of our control. And obviously in the work that you do, there are situations where life is lost. So we want to make sure that you plan, get everything in place. Again, that estate planning, those estate planning documents are your last love letter to the people you love and care about most. And failing to plan is planned to fail. No powers of attorney, potential court intervention upon incapacity, all those type things, okay? And Bill, I realize I was going to have you talk a lot about the last few things that I've discussed. I'm going to turn it over to my partner, who has been a fountain of information in regards to estate planning, who's worked with a lot of great legal professionals, and he can start talking about some of the things that we have been discussing. But Bill, please, the floor is yours, my friend.
Well, thank you. So one of the things is, as he was saying, no powers of attorney. You're just planning to fail, because if something comes up, and we saw this with COVID, with everything that came up with COVID and everything, people were in situations that they weren't planning for. Also, not having a will or a trust. And it's very important to have those things in place, because if you don't have a will or a trust, who has priority to handle your estate? And that's really important. Who is going to inherit your estate on your death? And I've had so many times when we have been to enrollments and shared our legal plan with people and talking about the wills and all that. And people say, oh, I told my aunt she's going to take care of the kids. Well, I got news for you. Verbal expressions of your wishes are not legally enforceable. Now, I can't say for every state, but I do know in California that verbal isn't necessarily going to do you a lot of good. And a key thing, too, is when we're talking about a will with guardianship of children, and we're going to be talking about guardianship later, is a trust cannot assign guardianship, and we'll go over that. But the key thing is, if you do not have something in place to list who is your guardian, then the children can become ward of the state, more than likely will. And if they become ward of the state, they could end up in foster care for up to 6 months till investigations are done, to make sure that whoever they're going to place them with is safe according to their investigations. If you take the steps to assign that to somebody, you take the burden off them. So it's important to have it done. And really, at a minimum, you should go ahead and have your advance directives done. You want to have that done. You want to have your financial power of attorney done, and at least a last will and testament and or a trust. And we're going to address later, what are some of the pros and cons of each. And I always have people saying, well, what's better for me, a will or a trust? I don't know your situation, but I do know an estate planning attorney can give you the tips you need and the advice you need to find out what is best for your situation. So if when you have surrogate decision makers, you want to make sure they're available. If they're somebody who travels, like a business partner of ours does security and routinely travels out of the country, they may not be the best person because they may not be available when things come up. Do they have the skills and the experience? And not everybody's experienced at it, but do they have the resources available to them to get the advice to do that? And what are their family dynamics? And what I mean by that is, if they're the black sheep of the family, they may not want them to be the person. Are they a person that's responsible? Can you trust them to have things filed on time, things done on time? That's really key. And how are their communication skills? Because like it or not, they're going to have to communicate with the rest of the family members. And then cost. Cost can be looked at multiple things. Do they live across the country where they're going to have to fly out here? Or if you don't have anybody in the family that'll fit, are you going to hire a professional? There's a cost to that. So I know it's a lot to think about, but you really want to consider these things before you pick somebody. Because if you just decide, I'm just going to go ahead and just, name someone, we really hope this isn't your plan, because it doesn't tend to work well at all. You want to have a plan in place. You want to make sure you pick the right person. So we're going to shred that, get rid of that, and that one's gone. So we can forget about that plan. So we're going to talk about powers of attorney for a minute. What is a power of attorney? What does it do? Well, a power of attorney enables someone to help another. Could be financial, could be healthcare through a living will. That's what your advanced directives are. So earlier when I said advanced directives, and you maybe were wondering, what are advanced directives? That's what it is. It's your healthcare directives, your living will, and also the mental health care. Now, a common misconception is, and a lot of people think that, well, mental health care, okay, that's when I get older. No, not necessarily. I mean, come on, there's so many people on here that are firefighters or they work, in and around that industry, and they know something can happen on the job and it can cause a mental problem. Somebody can take a hit in the head, get into an accident, something that can happen where they need that mental health care and everything else. So it isn't just age related. I know I just recently had a CT scan, and it's like I've been telling my wife all along. I've told her I don't have a brain, and when they looked at the results, they said no mass found. I said, see, it proves it. So, but the thing is, if you need mental health care, you want to have someone you can trust. So now let's look at will versus trust. Let's go over some of the things, common things people want to know. What's the difference between a will and a trust? When it comes to probate, who's it administered by? What is a document? What do we need to do? What's the upkeep? Well, does it go through probate? Yes, a will goes through probate. A living trust does not if it's funded. What it means by being funded is you have to have something in there, property. You have to have something in there to fund that living trust. An unfunded living trust in California, from what I found out, will go through probate. So you want to make sure you have it funded. That's something you need to stay on top of. A will is administered by a personal representative known as an executor. A living trust is administered by a trustee. Wills are simple, trusts are a little more complex. And when it comes to upkeep, a will, you really don't need a lot of upkeep unless changes of your wishes, deaths, family dynamics, state laws, anything like that happens. But we do recommend annual updates because your situation may not change, but you're in California. State laws change constantly. And with this living trust, it takes ongoing diligence. You acquire a trailer, a travel trailer, you acquire a boat, things like that. You want to make sure you have that in a trust. You want to have your trust updated. So you really want to stay on top of it. And then in addition to that, what are some of the costs? What about incapacity planning? Because we've been talking about that. What's the effective date of each? And what about if I own property in multiple states? Some of the people we work with do. Well, a will is less initially, but it could be more later with probate, and it usually is. Whereas a living trust is more initially, but since a funded trust doesn't go through probate, it's going to be less then. Now, when it comes to incapacity planning, that isn't what the will is for. That's what your living will, your medical directives, all of those are for, and those are also in your living trust. The living trust is for that. But you can also have that done with your will, living will, medical directive, and durable power of attorney. So a will is done on death. That's when it goes into effect. That's why they call it a last will and testament, whereas a living trust is now. Okay, so because you're going to be funding it now, you're going to be taking action immediately. And if you own property in multiple states, a living trust is really recommended over a will. So these are things to look at when you say, well, what's better for me? And this is where an estate planning attorney can help you look at your situation. So now, if you have minor children, there's some other things to look at. You remember I talked about earlier when I talked about what if you have minor children, can you name guardian? A will does name guardianship, a living trust does not. This is why a will is put into your living trust as part of the living trust, so it can name guardianship and do some other things. If there's going to be care, special needs, creditors that have to be dealt with, someone in the family has substance abuse, or, a problem spouse, then a will may not be enough. You may want a living trust for that. And if you have a blended family, it's better to have a living trust. Because keep in mind, if you've been in a previous marriage and you're divorced and you have children, and if something should happen, you want to leave your estate to those children, well, upon your death, usually the other biological parent will become the custodial parent then of those children. And if you don't have it done properly, that ex-spouse can gain access to the estate through the children. So you want to have it set up so they're protected, okay, should something happen. So if something were to happen to you, what do people need to know? Okay, what needs to be known? Well, they need to know your emergency contacts, your medical information, allergies, medications, doctors, medical history, all that. Are you a military veteran? Like my wife knows my veteran benefits, what I get because I'm a military veteran. She knows that. If you have a house, is there an HOA? Something she has to be compliant with. Utilities, homeowners insurance, finances. You know, it isn't just banks checking account, but where's your retirement accounts? How many life insurance policies do you have? Where are they? Do you have an accountant? Do you have an advisor, someone they can talk to? If you have vehicles, you want to know the information on that. Auto insurance, where's the titles? And if you got those little children, the pets, well, then you got to be, you know, they got to be taken care of, and they're used to routines. Legal document location, online account passwords, all that stuff. It's important that this stuff be known. As a matter of fact, my daughter called me today and she had an interesting thing. She goes, Dad, I'm heading up to Reno to pick up one of our employees. I'm like, really? Why? She goes, it's the most interesting story we had. It went out nationwide to all of our safety people. They've never had this happen before. And I go, okay, what happened? He was working by Yosemite. He need to go to the bathroom. So he saw an outhouse on the side of the road, the porta potty. He stopped, went to porta potty, walked out, got 2 feet and was attacked by a wolf. Not a coyote, a wolf. And so it was good that everybody had emergency contacts and all this. But luckily, and he's okay. I mean, he is going to the hospital because he has bruising, but they wear these forearm guards that won't allow slicing or puncturing. Luckily, he didn't take them off. So he had protection when he was attacked. But they could tell by the bruising marks and size of the mouth, and he was able to identify it was actually a wolf. So you know what? If something major would have happened, he wants to make sure people have his information. And what we're going to go into now, and I'm going to give it back over to Phil, because you want to be careful that you leave a legacy, you don't leave a mess. The last thing you want when you're gone is to leave a mess for your heirs and your family. So we're going to go into that and talk about that.
I think it's really important to understand that, you know, who the decision maker is going to be, who the successors are going to be. Make sure you find somebody competent who can handle all the things that you're dealing with, and do it as soon as possible. Do it now. I mean, one of the wonderful things about the services we provide is we give you immediate access to getting that done. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to, we'll get into more details about that, but here's the really important stuff. So you can do it how, alone or gently. So what if your family didn't match the beneficiaries? You need to think about who are going to be your beneficiaries, who are going to be the people that you, the family, the friends, the charity. What organizations do you want to get that information to? So understand the family dynamics. Okay. The next screen talks about your, you know, if you have an organization that you feel very strongly about. I really, well, I feel very grateful to the Boys and Girls Clubs that I've been involved with for many, many years. They were part of a very important part of my youth. So on the next page, it talks about those charities that you want to give to and make sure are a part of the beneficiary. So make sure that you want, if that's what you are trying to, make sure that's in writing. Okay. So when do you want all these things to happen for children, for example? If you're going to leave things to children, you don't want to leave that to them right from the beginning. You may want to give it to them when they're 18 or maybe not even 18. Again, you need to think about your choices in regard to education as well. Do you want to make sure they get through school? Are they the student type? Or what kind of health issues they may be dealing with? So, and how you do that is you can hold that outright. You can hold that in trust. So again, what if? Just make sure you're prepared for those things. And the next screen talks about the knowledge of the law. Be careful of those who only dabble in it. Make sure you're dealing with people who have that expertise. You know, we talk a lot about, you see some things on there, online documents, in-person document preparer. You know, make sure you have an expert in estate planning who knows what they're doing, who's done it for, has some experience in that. And we all know that the napkin will never be enforceable. So make sure you get it done by someone who's proficient in the areas of law that you're looking to provide those things. Again, that will is the last love letter to the people you care about most. Okay. And take into account your unique situation, your you have unique preferences, as we talked about with charities. You may have a unique financial situation. So take into account the life insurance, your annuities, IRAs, 401ks, joint ownership, other accounts, independent of that will or trust. It's really important that you look into all those things and have all those things documented, have all those things listed. You may have beneficiaries who need special needs. If they do have special needs, please make sure that you take all of that into account. Very important parts of what make your estate planning proper for you and your family. So let's talk about why it makes sense to have legal representation, why hire an attorney. Obviously, they can do a much more comprehensive approach. They have that expertise, so they can take a look at protecting your assets while you're married, your real estate situation and where you stand in that regard, your savings. They can help you get the powers of attorneys, the trust, the guardianships, all the things that you need done. They can help you get that done and done correctly. In my 36 years of doing this, I've seen families who've tried to do things differently, let's just put it that way, where there's been just a mess. I've seen families break up over a necklace. I've seen families break up. I had one situation where one of the sisters got the house, the other one got all the things in the house. Well, one of the things in the house that the sister got was the hot tub that she literally took out of the backyard because it wasn't attached to the house, and literally took that out. I happened to be the one buying that house. So when the sister who I was buying the house from was telling me about the hot tub in the backyard, I go, there's no hot tub in the backyard. There's marks where a hot tub used to be. But again, it's really important that you have all of this listed so there's no problems, obviously. Okay. So a more comprehensive approach, save expenses. When things are able to go through the first time, doing it twice or three times wrong, it's so much easier to do it right the first time. Understand about estate recovery and avoidance probate. There are new laws that just came up. Many of you are aware of those. And Bill and I, if we haven't said this enough, let's say it again. We're not attorneys, we're not legal counsel, but we are aware of the laws, as most of you are, and the laws are changing in California. They're changing in regards to so many important things in regards to leaving property to the family, people you care about best. And then really important, this last point, is there's no conflict of interest. While your attorneys collaborate with community resources, their loyalty lies with their clients, not the referral source. Their job is to take care of you. The way the whole LegalShield concept works is we're paying the law firm in California, many of you know, literally nearly $2 million a month to take care of our members. So there's no incentive for them to do anything but take care of you, of the client, to give you the best they can give you. And the law firm we use, we're so proud. I've got a chance to spend some time with the managing partners. And as I love how you did this, Bill. This is great. We are so fortunate to work with a law firm that's been around since 1927, a law firm that's AV rated, a law firm whose managing partner, who retired a couple of years ago, his background was estate planning. That was what he did. He did lectures all across the country about estate planning, and he's left a legacy. So Parker Stanberry, parkstan.com, if you want to take a look, is the law firm that provides the services that we offer, including the estate planning. And I think most people know that it's really nice to know that they handle all areas of law. I mean, we're talking about estate planning in this situation. We're talking about how important that is. And absolutely, it's a really important aspect of it. And what's really nice is when you take care of your estate planning, I mean, you're taking care of something that literally could cost you $500, $1,000 or sometimes more. And that's just part of what our membership provides. But as you can see, Parker Stanberry is a full service law firm. It's whether you have questions about your job, consumer finance, a landlord tenant issue, whether you're the landlord or the tenant, foreclosure and real estate law, family law. We talked about estate planning, traffic law. One of the things, the reason I'm really doing what I do, if you don't know my background, I bought this membership 36 years ago, and about a month after I got the membership, I got a traffic ticket, and a traffic ticket that I didn't think was very fair in the little town of Verdi, Nevada, right outside of Reno. Bill knows that town very well, but when you're coming from Sacramento, it's basically straight downhill. I mean, to go 55, which was the posted speed limit, I had to literally be on my brakes, and let's just say I wasn't on my brakes. So I got a violation. The attorney from Reno went to court for me, got the ticket dismissed. I was so impressed. I had a few friends who wanted the membership. They asked me about how do I get it? I said, let me call the guy who sold it to me, and the rest, as they say, is history. So obviously traffic is a really important part of what we do. And back then traffic tickets were, $50 to $100 max. Now, I think going through a red light, I think it's minimum $550 in the state of California, and those tickets aren't going down. So auto accidents, personal injury, if you have collection situation, if you have a business, or if you know people, if you have friends of the CSFA who have businesses, please point them in our direction. We take care of business and corporate law, criminal law, tax law. There's so much that Parker Stanberry does that can help you with whatever issue you or any family member are dealing with, or any friend. One of the nice things about what we do with the CSFA is a portion of our membership goes back directly to the California State Firefighters Association. It's our way of giving back for all the great things they've done for us for the last number of years. And the more people that we can introduce to our services, the more money we can give to the CSFA. So Bill, we've talked about a lot of serious stuff, and maybe we need to give them a little dose of comedy. At least what I think is very humorous. If you want to go right ahead, I'm looking forward. We left Esteban in suspense when we made sure that the video was working. Let's relieve the suspense.
All right, we're going to go into 2 minutes of humor.
These people are living the dream from the enviable comfort of their designated work areas. But if something unfortunate were to occur and they didn't have a will, do you know what would happen?
What?
Well, deciding what would happen to their bank accounts, their real estate, their little tiny bobblehead thingy collections, it would all be distributed according to the laws of their state or province.
What? Are you kidding me?
What's happening now?
That's unfair.
No, it's extremely unfair. Your assets at the mercy of some cold, unfeeling statutory formula?
That sounds horrible.
It is. That's why will preparation is of the utmost importance. And it's easy, because will preparation by a lawyer is part of your LegalShield membership. The Prepare Your Will questionnaire in the mobile app will help you figure out what's important to you.
I figure no need to spend money on a will. I'll just write it down, stick it in the fire safe.
Oh yeah, that'll work. Because kids always agree on everything. Plus, like I said, it's included in the monthly membership.
Right now, it's just me and the cats. I need to be clear. What should happen if I'm not able to make my own healthcare decisions?
Well, that could be covered by a living will and a healthcare power of attorney. And the will would take care of the cats.
Yes.
Can I get a pull?
Took care of my will years ago, but I probably need to get it updated again. My folk vinyl collection cannot end up in the wrong hands.
Well, LegalShield can review and update your will yearly if you like.
Really?
What would happen to my Instagram and all my followers?
Start with the Prepare Your Will questionnaire in the LegalShield mobile app. Your information will be sent directly to a lawyer to prepare your will. Simple. And you won't have to leave what's most important to you in the hands of bureaucrats.
All right, sorry, I couldn't stop it as easy. Apologize for that.
Hey,
But
Bill?
going in, yes.
I just want to say, for those of you who are wondering, those are not professional actors. Those are actually employees at our home office. We have about 700-800 employees, and they're not actors, as you can tell, but I thought they did a great job. So back to you, Bill.
Yes, so a lot of people, and that's what he's talking about, is using the app. There are two ways you can actually do your will. You can do it through paper, or you can use the phone app. But the reason we're bringing this up is some people think, well, I've put it off because you know what? I just don't have the time. This is a long, drawn out process, and I just don't have the time to put into it. I'm going to show you what you can do. It's 7 simple steps. It's not hard to do. Step 1, when you have the membership, get the app. You open it, you hit complete will and other questionnaires. You click on estate planning. It's that easy. And you can go ahead and start the process. If somebody says, you know what, I don't want to do it in a phone app, we have a paper will. When anybody gets started, I make sure you get a welcome email. So that way you can download a copy of that paper will. So all of our CSA members and friends of the CSFA that are members will have that, and they can get started. It's very simple to do. Step 2, you just go through your general information. Who are you? What's your age? Where do you live? Where were you born? Just all this general information you're going to be putting down. You know, it's going to go through it all. And then what you're going to do is put your spouse or partner information. You're going to get all of their information down, because it's very important that you have all of that. Everything's laid out. Where did you get married? When did you get married? All of that information. So if it has to be used in court, they can make sure it's tracked to the right person. All right. And then going in from there, it's real simple. In step 4, you complete your dependent information. You know their names, birth dates, names and birth dates of grandchildren, any special needs children's. And a lot of people think, well, why do they have to have their birth date? Well, part of the reason is because that's how they're going to identify them. Because there could be 2 John Williams, but there's probably only 1 John Williams born on this date that's a part of that family. So it helps to identify them. And of course, if you have any disinheritance and special requests, you know, those X type things, you want to make sure that, you know, that isn't in there. And then what you do is you go through your asset information. This can take a little bit of time, because you need to go through all of your assets, your vehicles. If you have liens on your vehicles, who's a lien holder, your home, who holds a mortgage on it, any of the other different assets you have, be it a boat, a travel trailer, vacation properties, other things like that you might have. Literally get all of that stuff done. And a lot of people forget and leave out things like life insurance policies. A helpful tip for you is a life insurance policy. The proceeds of a life insurance policy does not go through probate, even with a will. Part of the reason is because the benefits or the money, the face value of that life insurance policy is not part of your estate. It's payable upon your death and goes to the beneficiary. So if the beneficiary died, say, a week later, then it would be part of their estate. But the proceeds were never part of your estate. So therefore, they don't go through probate. They just go straight over to the beneficiary. But that needs to be in there. Okay, so it needs to be in there so they can be identified. And of course, any investments you have, retirement accounts, Roth IRAs, annuities, all that stuff. Make sure you have it all in there. And then you go through and you do your end of life requests. Okay. You know, do you want any special arrangements, treatment of remains, pet care? You know, like she was saying, social media. You know, my wife for the longest time was, what do you want? Do you want to be buried or cremated? I said, I only want one thing. Just one thing. And she goes, what's that? I want to be dead when it happens. Okay. So other than that, I don't care. But I do need to say what I wish. And I need to put it down. And that's important. Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be buried? If you don't have this stuff written down, you could be in a situation like the Terry Schiavo case. It could go on for years, because a spouse or partner may say, I know they wanted this. And they could have a relative that said, I know they wouldn't want that. And if it's not specifically written down, then you're going to have a serious problem with the life support. And then end of life, what do they want? Well, they wanted to be buried over here in California. No, they wanted to be buried back here in Missouri. You know, it's going to end up in a big fight. So put it down, spell it out, let people know what you want. And then it's real simple. Step 7, submit it to your provider law firm. If you're using the app, all you simply have to do is go ahead and hit submit to provider. They will have all of your documents, your last will and testament, living will, medical directive, and durable power of attorney done within 7 to 10 days. And 2 copies will be mailed back to you. One that you keep in a place where anybody can find it, a file cabinet, and another one that you keep in a place where it's safe, like a fireproof safe, a safety deposit box, someplace it couldn't be destroyed by fire or flood. So that way it's protected. If you're using the paper app, it's real simple. You just mail it in via the postal service. But before you mail it in, you tap the part on your app that says contact your law firm, and you talk to an estate planning attorney and say, I finished it. I think I'm ready to send it in, and have some questions for you. Say, did you think about this? Did you think about this? And that's good because they've done so many tens or probably hundreds of thousands of these that they know the questions to ask, and they know what people regularly forget. But see, our membership doesn't stop there with the will and all of that. It goes on, and Phil's going to tell you about some of the other services we provide with your membership.
Thanks, Bill. And very briefly, I just want to outline how simple it is to use the service, because the whole idea behind what we do and why we have 5 million customers across the country, why we're one of the fastest growing employee benefits across the country, why this just makes sense is, let's be honest, people cannot afford $300 to $500 an hour. Our membership provides you, as you can see, unlimited legal advice on any personal legal matter, no time limits, no exclusions, no clock ticking. Get on the phone, talk to one of those. We have over 50 attorneys that you have access to that have expertise in every area of law. So whether it's real estate, taxes, estate planning, and whatever it happens to be, get on the phone and get advice and assistance. Besides that, remember, assistance on anything, unlimited issues, even pre-existing conditions, they'll write letters or make phone calls on your behalf. So if you have a problem with your cable company, your cell phone provider, neighbor's dog's barking, it doesn't matter. They can write a letter, make a phone call. When there's 50 plus attorneys on the letterhead, 5 offices across California. And when I had a problem with somebody who owed me money, and they talked about the Fair Debt Collection Act and triple damages and all this mumbo jumbo that made no sense to me. It made sense to people who owed me the money, and they got me that money back. The point is, they can write letters, make phone calls, probably a little better than your letters or phone calls, or you just getting mad. They review contracts and documents. So don't ever sign anything without an attorney looking it over. I don't care what it is. It's part of the membership, no additional cost. Whether you're buying insurance, buying a car, buying a house, leasing an apartment, doesn't matter. We already talked about the wills. We also cover trial defense services if you're named in a lawsuit. We also cover family domestic services. So if there is an uncontested divorce, adoption, separation, or name change, after a 90-day waiting period, the only part of the program where there's any waiting at all, if you have that situation and can do that, you wait 90 days, all the legal fees are covered. Now you pay the expenses for paperwork and processing, all that, but all the attorney's fees are paid for. And if you get a moving traffic ticket, I already alluded to that as well. You just tap the app and can have that ticket submitted. You take a picture and that app is submitted directly to the law firm. So that kind of details some of the other parts of our service. But I think the best part is what I'm going to turn over to Bill, and that is the member perks. I mean, one of the things that we're really proud to offer as a benefit for our CSFA members are discounts on over 500 companies that you're probably already doing business with. This is the member perks. Bill, I think you were going to talk about this, or did you want me to continue? I'll continue. So
Sorry.
member perks, go ahead, Bill.
All right. Sorry, I forgot I was muted. So with the member perks, the easiest question I ask people, do you know anybody who uses AT&T, Verizon, DirecTV, or Dish Satellite? If you do, we have discounts off the monthly service. And the nice thing is you don't have to go and put that in every month. Once it's attached to your account, it comes off monthly every month. But over 500 other companies that we give discounts on that you can utilize. Matter of fact, if you get used to using them and pulling up your app and checking before you buy, on average, we found our average member saves at least $49 a month, which, by the way, is more than the cost of your membership. So it's well worth it. The membership is very, very inexpensive. You're talking about $16.95 for an individual. For your whole family, for the legal plan, $18.95. In addition to that, you can add on identity theft protection. That's all on your CSFA website. In fact, it's very, very easy to find it. There's a banner that actually goes across on your website. You can see right here, and it'll be rotating. You can wait till LegalShield comes up or click the arrow. You can also click on member benefits to find out where we're at and select us there. But keep in mind, if you want the member rate, you have to sign in. Now, for those who are on the line, who are friends of the CSFA, but are not yet members, we have better than a retail rate for you. It's not as good as the members, but it's still better than the retail rate. And you can go to this right here, legalshield.com/info/CSFA connection. And then you'll have a better than retail rate, but not as good as the CSFA membership. Or the CSFA member price. There's value in membership. As a matter of fact, the difference in what you can save in your membership alone practically pays for your CSFA membership. So it just makes sense. If you have any questions, there's my information there. Phil's over here. Feel free to get a hold of us. And then before we open it for questions, I'm going to see if Phil has anything else that he would like to say real quickly, and then we can go ahead and we can open it up in case anybody has some questions. They can unmute, and we'll do the best we can to answer your questions.
Oh,
Do you
I
have anything,
appreciate
Phil?
that. Yeah, I just want to say, again, thanks so much for this opportunity to share the services we provide, hopefully give you some value in regard to estate planning. But let me tell you, if you use those member perks and those discounts, you basically lose money. They talk about the average is $49. I mean, if you have a family with a couple children, it's going to be a lot more than that. So the point is, some great value, some great services, and we just love servicing our first responders. The relationship we've had with CSFA has been so good for such a long time, and we look forward to continuing that relationship. So Bill, I'm ready to open up to, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask away, remembering neither Bill nor I are attorneys.
Yes, Esteban, if you want to open up for questions, that would be great.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So anyone who does have a question, please feel free to unmute yourselves, or if you are, I do see Darren, he does have his hand up. Hello, Darren, you're more than welcome to ask the question.
Gentlemen, thank you for your presentation. Darren Hughes, I'm over here in Visalia, California. Quick question. I am a member, our entire department is members of the CSFA, so we have 100% membership. What is the cost included? I might have missed it for CSFA members. I know we already pay our yearly membership to CSFA, but membership on top of that is what for CSFA members again?
For CSFA members is $16.95 for an individual, if that's just you. If you want to protect your family, that's you and a spouse, domestic partner, or significant other. Only one. So if you have a spouse and significant other, you got to pick which one you like the best.
Which one? Okay.
And your children up to their 26th birthday, never married, living at home, or never married full-time college students. You also have this as an additional benefit through your department. Terry Sharon is your associate that can do that, and she's set it up so that with Visalia Fire, that if you're part of Visalia FD, right?
Yes, sir.
That it'll still come back. The royalty will come back to the CSFA.
All right, thank you.
She values that the connection we have and the work we're doing together with the CSFA.
In order to make contact with her, what I go through the CSFA website and make contact through the LegalShield?
No, I would go ahead, give myself a call, the 805-440-4529, or email me, bill@iasbenefit.com. I'll get you her contact info to call her. And if for any reason you can't reach her, you can always do it through us. You can do it through the CSFA also, but I just wanted you to know it's available. Because I'm not sure with you guys if it's done as a payroll deduction as part of your dues or not.
Yeah, no, it might be different. Again, I'm a member. We're all members of CSFA. I paid the union, right? I'm a battalion chief, not part of their bargaining group. So I don't know if there's any stipulation that makes anything. I'm still a CSFA member, but not a member of the union per se. Is that
you bumped out of that? You're on the dark side now.
Right, exactly. I jumped over the fence. I had one leg on each side, and I fell off and went into the dark side. So
you need to go to the CSFA website then, because that's through their association. So since you're not in the association, but you are a CSFA member, just go to the CSFA website and you can sign up right there when you sign in.
Okay, great,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thanks,
Bet.
Darren.
Gary, we see you unmuted. Haven't talked to you in a while. How you doing, Gary?
Well, first of all, thanks both of you guys. And I've been a member of LegalShield. Unfortunately, I share something in common with Phil because I got a ticket right out of Bird Eye. I know that grade you're talking about. It was 10 years ago before I had LegalShield, so I wish I would have had it. I ended up paying that ticket. But hey, my question was that the will creator in the app is really cool. So for any of you that haven't used it yet, but what about the living trust? Can we get the living trust through LegalShield? How does that work?
Yes, you can. You actually get a 25% discount off a living trust. But remember when I mentioned, a lot of the documents you get for free, your will, living will, medical directive, durable power of attorney, specifically the last three are part of your living trust. A part of the will is part of your living trust. So get them done for free. That way, when they get you a referral attorney to get your trust done, you've already got those documents. You don't have to sit down and do questionnaires with the person and pay by the hour because you've already got those documents done. So it can save you more than the 25% discount.
I see. Okay, so lock down the will first, and then just contact the attorneys there and say I want to get a living trust now.
Right. And I always tell people do the will first for two reasons. One is you're going to use those documents for your living trust. Two, a lot of people are thinking about a living trust. And you know what will happen next year? They'll still be thinking about a living trust, which means they went a year with nothing. But if you get the will done first, at least you're not leaving it up to the politicians at the state capitol. And we all know how much they love us, right? How much they care about our assets.
Hey, Gary, talking about that Bird Eye grade, this is 1985. I don't know if any of you guys are all too young to remember, but 1985 was the first year of the gas shortage, and they made the basic speed law all across the country 55 because they were going to save money in gases and gas and all that. So the basic speed law was 55. So I got pulled over with a helicopter up above me and a trooper down below, waving us over in groups of 5 or 6 people and giving everyone a ticket for 65 and 55. And when he asked me how fast that I was going, I said, "Sir, the last time I looked at my speedometer, I was going 0." He didn't like that answer very much.
And since Phil doesn't want any more tickets, we enroll pretty much every highway patrol office in California. So Phil's like, send me and it'll help on the tickets.
Well, speaking of that, I got stopped in, where did I get stopped, Bill? I forgot which county I'd never heard of because I was coming, Tehama County. And the CHP officer, I was going, faster than I should. And luckily he recognized me, remembered who I was, and he wrote me a ticket for what I didn't have my insurance card with me. I guess you have to have your insurance card with you. So I didn't have my card with me. So he wrote me up for that. It cost me $15. So I was very happy to pay that $15, let me tell you.
Quick question. Bill, can you hear
Yes.
me? Okay.
Yes, we can, Darren.
Another quick question, sorry. So doing the will first, like Gary had mentioned, you guys have recommended doing the will first, then going into a living trust. So with the membership, is the will encompassed in it, or is there separate costs? You said there's a 25% discount. What is the actual cost for doing something?
That's for the living trust. Your last will and testament, living will, medical directive, and durable power of attorney for you and your spouse or partner is covered at no additional cost, part of your membership. And for anybody that's as far as they're going as a will and all that, we update that, well, in most states annually at no additional charge. I think California moved to pretty much any time you want to update it.
Okay.
Darren, do you by chance have teenage kids?
No teenagers. Youngest is 26 out of the.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, if you have teenagers, wouldn't you like to take them out of the will when they misbehave and put them back in when they start behaving?
We always threaten them. We always threaten them with that. Yeah, we always change our percentages.
You already got it down, so you don't need my help.
Yeah, we threaten them all the time that we're changing their percentages once they act up. So what is the living trust cost? Once you do decide to, you complete the will, which we've done. I have done through LegalShield when I was a member actually of the union. And we did one and haven't updated it in a long time. A lot of things have changed. So I'm one of those people. But what is the cost for actually converting over to a living trust then? Approximately, I guess, roughly estimated.
Do you want me to get that one, Phil?
I can talk from my experience, or I mean, we both probably have the same basic answer. We don't know. That's the answer. But what I can speak from my own personal experience, and Darren, mind you, this was 12, 13 years ago. I got all the stuff done that's free. And then I actually had them give me give me 3 different referrals. And I basically worked the 3 attorneys against each other the best I could. And I said, I've got these documents in place. What are you going to charge me? What are you going to charge me? What are you going to charge me? I got mine done for an amount that I'm sure you could never get it done for anymore, but I got it done for a really great rate because I had most of the work done. I mean, with all due respect, a lot of a trust is pretty boilerplate. And I'm not, again, not attorney in any way, shape, or form. Let me make sure you understand that. But a lot of that is pretty basic stuff. So if you have, attorneys are willing to negotiate.
Yeah,
So
and since you're going to
use
get
those skills,
oh, I'm
Darren.
sorry.
I was just gonna, Darren, I think you got some good negotiation skills. Use them.
All right, I definitely was, yeah.
Yeah, since you're going to get a 25% discount, is the key thing is whatever the normal rate is for that attorney, you're gonna pay a quarter less.
At least.
I know before LegalShield with my mom, her and my dad did one of those I call it the traveling trust show where they go to hotels, and they put them in an AB trust. So my dad happened to have a heart attack before they could sign it. He never recovered. So they put him in an AB trust, which was the wrong trust for her because he had passed because they took so long to get it done. And she had to have the whole thing redone. By the time she was done, not having LegalShield cost her almost $4,000. So I always tell people, whether it's 2,000 or 3,000, whatever it is, who knows what it is, you're going to save 25%. You're muted. Okay. Any other questions?
If not, I think it's our time to just thank everybody. The last Tuesday of next month, we have a great topic of conversation. We're looking forward to that. We'll do our best to try and get the word out. If you can help us as well, Darren over at Visalia, we'd like to think we're bringing real value to the members of the CSFA, but if they don't know about this, so we're going to try and do a little better job of posting on LinkedIn. We try and get the emails out, but we know that, I don't know how many, I have 3,000 some emails and I've read them all, but I've looked at them. So the point is, we're going to do our best to try and get as many folks on here, and any help that you can give us to get the word out is greatly appreciated. So we appreciate Gary and Monty and Esteban and all the people with CSFA who've been so helpful in promoting this program. And Bill and I both look forward to adding more value to your membership.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. I think this is going to start to be known as the LegalShield Worry Less and Live More series.
There you go.
Bringing you something every month, and we want to try and bring something that adds value to you guys. And if you miss something, go into their YouTube channel for the CSFA. You'll be able to view it there. If you didn't see the gun owners, if you didn't see the identity theft, I think, Gary, it's up there, right? So it's up there on the YouTube channel for the CSFA. And please pass the word to tune in same day, same time next month. Next month is business.
You wanted to say same bat time, same bat channel, didn't you? I know you did. That's really dating myself. I should be ashamed of myself for saying that stuff. Hey, thanks everybody. Esteban, as always, it's a pleasure. Always enjoy the 10 minutes before we start where we get to talk with you.
All righty, gentlemen. Thank you so much for this wonderful workshop. I definitely have my notes here in front of me that I was taking, going to incorporate it with my life, so definitely preparing for that. I even wrote down the failing to plan is you're planning to fail. So I appreciate that very much, gentlemen. And I'm sure that a lot of our participants grabbed a lot of value from this workshop. But other than that, that is all for today. Thank you Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this evening. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Esteban.
Take
Appreciate
care.
it. Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Have a great rest of your week.